But how will all of these overnight cues impact our own markets? Our research team joins in with the trade setup, the stocks that are likely to be in the news, and of course, the setup on the F&O side of things as well. It was a down day on Friday, of course. It was a weak start to the May series, but then there were two key positives that emerged for our markets that day. The first one being the fact that we closed above the mark of 24,000. That was one positive. And the other one being the fact that we found support at lower levels, which was closer to 23,850, which earlier was a resistance for the index. So these were the two positives. But of course, with the kind of moves that we had seen on during the April series, the market needed a reason to course correct a bit, and we saw that because of the India-Pakistan border tensions, and that led to some souring of sentiment and the resultant profit booking that we saw during Friday's trading session. Of course, there are no major developments over the weekend on this front, and as a result of which we are seeing a bit of a gap upstart is what the GIFT Nifty is currently suggesting for our own markets as well. Of course, the big trigger today for the market to move will be how Reliance reacts to its fourth quarter results. It was a fairly resilient quarter for the company, so it will be interesting to see how the index heavyweights also reacts to its results. For the Nifty Bank, which has been an outperformer all through and through the April series, the other bit is that it has corrected almost 1400 points now from its top, and it also had a retest of its previous highs, and it closed above that, which was 54,467. Now the important levels, as I just highlighted, 24,350 is the level on the upside to watch for the Nifty, and Friday's high, which is 24,365, and Friday's low of 23,847 are some key levels to watch on the Nifty. Now mid-cap IT has remained in focus all through last week. It will be in focus this week as well, as earnings reactions from OFSS, Tata Tech, Zensar also comes. It's a very data-heavy day globally. It's a data-heavy week, I must say, globally. So all eyes will be on the global markets as well, be it big tech, be it the US GDP data, Trump tariffs, all of it will keep the markets on the toes as well. But for now, it's a positive start is what the GIFT Nifty is indicating. 123 points gap up is what we are watching out for. Over to Sudarshan now, who would list out the stocks that you need to watch out for today. Sudarshan, good morning. What's on your list?
Good morning, Harmaz. So we'll start with the Nifty heavyweight. Reliance Industries reported a healthy set of earnings for Q4, and also it has become the first Indian company to have net worth of more than rupees 10 lakh crore. Profit was up 5%, revenue has increased 10% sequentially, and O2C earnings, it's one of the major segments, has reported earnings that were better than estimates, and company has announced that Anant Ambani is appointed executive director for 5 years effective May 1, 2025. Tata Technologies has reported revenue which was weaker than estimates. Constant currency revenue was down 3.3% versus an estimate of 3% decline. For IGL, it was a healthy set of earnings. Revenue was up 5%, EBITDA has increased 37% sequentially, and EBITDA per SCM, that is one of the main components, was up 16% and has come in at rupees 6 per SCM. Zensar constant currency revenue growth was at 9% versus estimate of 0.5% growth. EBIT margin has come in at 13.9%, which was higher by 10 basis points sequentially. Keep an eye on two companies, that is M&M and SML Isuzu. M&M has announced that it's going to acquire nearly 59% stake worth rupees 555 crore at rupees 650 per share from promoter Sumitomo and from public shareholder Isuzu Motors. Also, company will be making open offer to acquire additional 26% stake, and for open offer the price is almost 1,555 per share, and deal is expected to be completed by December of 2025. IDFC First Bank has also announced earnings. NI was up 10%, while profit has fallen 58% year-on-year. NIM has come at 5.95% versus 6.35% year-on-year and versus 6.04% sequentially. And Poonawalla Fin, NI was up 12%, and calculated net interest margin has fallen more than 200 basis points year-on-year. Keep an eye on Vodafone Idea. Block deal details were out. Nokia is the seller, and Goldman Sachs was a buyer in Friday's block deals.
Interesting list there, Sudarshan. Thanks a lot for that. And lastly, Mangalam joins in with cues from the F&O space. Mangalam, good morning. What's the F&O data indicating after day one of the May series?
Well, if you look at day one of the May series, that itself tells you the nature of the market itself. Strong buy on dips is what we're seeing. Yes, we ended lower on the front line indices on day one. We had the Nifty, which was lower by 0.8%, the Nifty Bank down by 1%. But the good part is that the IT index actually saw a recovery from the lows. HCL Tech was the biggest barometer of that. And we had the mid-cap index as well, which saw some bit of profit taking after a big up move that we've seen in April series from the lows itself. The GIFT Nifty is indicating a positive start to the tune of over 100 points. That tells you two things. One, the low made on day one of the May series is now firmly cast in stone as an important support level for the market, because lows made on day one of series actually tell you the nature of the series itself. 23,847, so roughly 23,850 is an important level to watch out for. The second part, we had both the DIIs and the FIIs on the buy side in the cash market. And the third part, remember we told you that the FIIs actually were fairly optimistic at the start of the May series. Well, they still are, but the good part is there are some shorts which have entered the system. So on the way up, some shorts that come in always provide fuel for short covering. So they added about 8,500 short contracts, sold about 1,700 crores in index futures itself. With that, the net exposure, which was at 41% on the long side on the first day of the series, is now inched lower to 38%, with net contracts moving from 24,000 to close to around 35,000 on the short side itself. The other part is that the HNIs, the clients, which were 45% long on day one, have actually inched their positions higher and now are at 46% itself. Now that we are opening higher, the question is where do we go from here? Well, it seems like at the lower level, there is strong support at 23,750 to 23,800. That's the action on the 23,800 and 23,900 put telling you. But on the way up, between 24,250 to 24,350, we might see some sort of supply, and that's exactly the action on the 24,200 call and the 24,300 call is suggesting. The one stock that we will keep an eye out on today is Reliance. The way the options are positioned post their numbers tells you that maybe at lower levels, at 1,300, there is a strong support, but at higher levels, we have 1,400. So room all the way up from 1,300 to 1,400 on that stock is something we'll be tracking today.
The big boy will be a key market determinant in today's trading session. Of course, Mangalam, thanks a lot for that. Take a short